Hello gamers, Little Nightmares and its sequel, Little Nightmares 2, will no doubt leave you wanting for more. The horror world of Little Nightmares makes for a game that aims at keeping players lost and feeling defenseless. Masterpiece like Little Nightmares 2 excite us and give us experience of a lifetime. But if you already played these two and still wanting more, don't worry, we got you covered. These games all have different themes and appearances, but if you loved Little Nightmares series, you're going to love these games. So without wasting any time, let's get started. Number 10. Black the Fall. The most important thing I took away from this game is knowledge. Before playing, I had never even heard of the Romanian Revolution. Now, I feel like I've learned an important part of history that this game has helped educate me in. As a puzzle game, it's pretty simple and has solid mechanics, though I found some of the timings to be very precise without much room for error. The atmosphere is impactful despite, or because of, the dim and minimalistic aesthetic of game. Really mediocre in the beginning, but it gets better as the game progresses. Number 9. Dark. Dark tells the story of Lloyd, a boy who becomes aware of the fact that he is dreaming. To Lloyd's misfortune, the dream quickly turns into a nightmare and all attempts to wake up end in failure. While exploring the darkest corners of his subconscious, Lloyd learns how to survive the nightmare by bending the laws of physics and manipulating the fluid fabric of the dream world. Spooky puzzle game with a nice turn-the-world game mechanic. Quite short, only a few hours, but worth it if it's on sale. Number 8. Pinstripe. Pinstripe is an emotionally charged adventure through hell, created entirely by a one-man team over the course of 5 years. Play as Teddy, an estranged ex-minister forced to venture through the frozen afterlife in search of his 3-year-old daughter Bo and her perverse kidnapper. Discover the dark secrets of Teddy's past and confront his sleazy, demonic nemesis, Mr. Pinstripe. This game is one of those unique storytelling games that has a deep foreshadowing but only starts to make sense by the end of the game. It's not confusing at all, it's actually a pretty simple concept of a story, but it's admirable how the devs told such a well-thought story through a platformer. A real work of art. Number 7. Never Alone. This is a cute platformer game with some nice story. The gameplay is pretty simple and straightforward, and the game isn't too hard. Some platforming sections could be tricky, but after several attempts even a slow player like me can pass those. The game is really beautiful and offers a lot of varied locations to run through. There's some jumping, swimming and light puzzle solving. A good variety in levels helps a lot to keep this short game fresh until the very end. You'll experience some calm moments, and at times you'll run for your lives with your fox. Wonderful game that is challenging as well as culturally informative. Number 6. Candleman. Candleman is a beautiful 3D platformer journey of a little candle that wants to shine as bright as a lighthouse. There are 12 chapters, each featuring different mechanics over few stages. Each has its own distinct ambience and theme revolving around various sources of light. To name just a few, you'll be seeing glowing dust, luminescent flowers, lanterns, fireworks, flames, light bulbs, etc. The game is not overly difficult, and its main gimmick is that you can only light up your little candle protagonist in quick bursts, as you're allowed to burn a total of 10 seconds throughout a single stage before you melt completely. Any players who loved Little Nightmares will find a great amount of joy in this classic title. Number 5. Typo Man. This game is fun. This game is clever. This game has an ending that will make you smile, but this game is painfully short. This is a short, yet brilliant little game. The art style and execution feels fresh in a sea of seen that before. Typo Man makes clever use of words to fashion the world you traverse and the enemies you encounter. The puzzles require the player to create words from available letters that will produce some kind of effect on the environment, moving objects, creating barriers, etc., that are needed in order to progress. This is packed into a nice little story with some collectibles to find along the way. A good command of small English words is required as well as their opposites in some cases. Number 4. Unravel. Unravel is a cute and heartwarming platformer puzzle game from EA. It's weird that EA released such a game, but it's a very pleasant surprise. You play as a yarn boy, or whoever that being is. The gameplay consists of platforming sections and puzzles. Although the game might seem like a casual game from first sight, in reality it's quite challenging, especially if you go after achievements. Puzzles are not hard, but require you to use your head a little. Platforming sections for the most part are pretty easy, but at the same time they're very easy to mess up. Charming little well-made indie game. Good concept, nice visuals and music. Controls feel fluid and responsive. Enjoyed this game a lot and would recommend for sure. Number 3. Shady Part of Me. Within the first 10 minutes of play, I fell in love with this game. I had no expectations and was hesitant to take on a platformer. It has elements that reminded me of Limbo, avoiding dark stuff, but without the monsters and little nightmares, directing a faceless child through a surreal landscape, but without the monsters. This is a really well-made game, a decent amount of content, not too hard, but challenging enough puzzles to keep you busy. I really like the rewind feature. It allows you to really deliberate the puzzles and not try and speed through them with irritation, as you never have to restart from the beginning. The story is well incorporated, it is dark and vague and leads the characters well, without the feeling of it being forced. Number 2. Limbo. Initially released in 2010, Limbo has us play as the boy who wakes up in the middle of a forest in the edge of hell. In this noir-style game, the boy enters a variety of dangerous areas filled with a bunch of different enemies. The goal? Escape without getting caught. This 2D-style platformer has us running left or right as well as using ladders and ropes while pushing or pulling objects in an effort to escape. Limbo features some unique and disgusting deaths for your character to face, whether it's from enemies like giant spiders or by things falling on top of you. I highly recommend Limbo if you haven't played it already, as this is seen as the game that gave Little Nightmares its inspiration. Number 1. Inside. Inside is very similar to Limbo and, partly because it was made by the same developers, Playdead. Released in 2016, Inside features the same gameplay mechanics as Limbo. There is one main difference in this game though: we can use mind control to solve puzzles this time around. Another similar feature Inside has is that its story involves an unnamed main character who is a boy trying to escape dangerous locations. With a very interesting story, you should play this and see why it was given so many game awards and is one of the best games like Little Nightmares. That's all for today. If you have any other suggestion, please write down below in the comment section. Thanks for watching the video. And if you find the video interesting, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.